All right, so when people are going out looking to buy land, they're so worried about how much of a deposit do they need to make to buy that piece of land. In this video, I'm going to talk about how much deposit do you need to buy land. All right, so first I'm going to talk about why deposits are needed when buying land, and then I'm gonna do the reverse opposite and show you why they're not that important. They're not as important as we think they are. All right, so why are deposits needed usually? This is usually like something they call a good faith deposit or an escrow deposit or an earnest money deposit. We call them so many different things, and I can understand why people get confused about it because there's so many different names across the country, across the industry. But really, a good faith deposit or an earnest money deposit or an escrow deposit is just to put some type of good faith with the contract saying that, look, I'm very interested in buying this land. I'm so serious that I'm willing to take hard-earned money and put it as an actual earnest money or good faith deposit with a title company or with the seller to hold it, which I don't actually recommend ever giving it to the seller because it's better to go with the title company because they're probably going to be the ones that are closing the transaction anyways. What is a title company? A title insurance company is a company that actually helps people transact real estate. You know, if I'm Sam the seller and I'm selling to Bill the buyer is going to be taken care of by a title insurance company, and so will I as Sam the seller, because people bring a deposit to the title insurance company. I want to state that it's a title insurance company because a title insurance company actually looks, they investigate the property, they look at the chain of title, they look to make sure that John and Lisa Smith, when they sold it back in 1972 to Ben and Charlie Brown, they want to make sure that the transaction happened smoothly. They want to make sure that the property changed hands correctly, that the names were correct, that the spelling was correct. So that's called chain of title, and you never want to break in the chain of title. And that's why the title insurance company offers an insurance package. If there's an issue with that, it will be corrected or paid for to correct it. So that's why a title insurance company exists. It's also a third-party company that makes sure that real estate transactions happen at an arm's length distance. Basically, it's making sure that when Sam the seller sells a piece of land to Bill the buyer, that Bill the buyer is getting taken care of, and so is Sam the seller. We want to make sure Sam the seller gets paid. We want to make sure Bill the buyer gets a property that he can have freedom to enjoy forever with no liens, encumbrances, back taxes, breaks in the chain of title, IRS tax liens, all that. So this whole video is about how much of a deposit do I have to make on a piece of land. That's just basically to secure the contract. I have purchased hundreds of properties by making only $10 earnest money deposits. I've also made $40,000 earnest money deposits to buy land because it was more expensive land. The seller was more sophisticated. He was an old-time developer. He wanted a large amount of money to take that property off the market because it was definitely a property that was in high demand. Now, a lot of times if your neighbor's selling a piece of land and you're interested in making an offer, a lot of times you're not going to have to put more than $5, $10, $100, or $200 as a deposit. So they're not as important as we make them out to be. All right, let's talk about the sellers that make the deposit very important because they've got in their mind that a serious buyer is going to make a huge deposit. Well, what if you're relying on the bank to finance this deal for you? Maybe you're borrowing money from a lender or a private lender, or maybe Uncle Scott's going to loan you the money. Well, you might only have $50 or $100 or $200 in your bank account and you're buying this land. Then communicate that with the seller. Look, my Uncle Henry is going to loan me all the money to buy this land. I've got like $200 in my bank account. I would like to make a $50 earnest money deposit to secure this property under contract to buy it from you. That's my story. So that way the seller understands. This is only for a seller that's making a big deal out of it. Most of the time on my purchase agreements, I have that we're paying a $10 earnest money deposit to the title company. We're giving it to Heritage Title or Land Title Insurance Company to secure that contract because I'm going to bring that purchase agreement to my title insurance company so they can start running the title and making sure, doing all the investigation, making sure that this property is able to transfer with a warranty deed or a general warranty deed. Basically, what is a warranty deed? Basically, we want to have some type of warranty from the seller, Sam the seller, saying that if there's any liens, encumbrances, or back taxes or issues with the chain of title for this property, that he will cover it for the end of time and also from the beginning of time. That is a warranty deed. It's giving you a warranty. Now there's a quitclaim deed. A quitclaim deed, not to be confused with quick, like speedy fast, but quit, like I'm going to quit claiming this deed as of right now. A quitclaim deed is usually not able to have title insurance or a title insurance policy placed on it by a title company because the seller is just stopping claiming it right then. They're not going to warranty anything, and a lot of times we have problems getting these to transfer. I get that question all the time. Hey Brent, should I buy a piece of land on a quitclaim deed? And I say no, I want you to buy the land with a warranty deed insured by a title insurance company, and I want you to get that transaction secured and warranted, because you never want to buy something or a piece of land and 10 years from now have to deal with it. So back to the deposit. If it's important to the seller, it should be important to you, but a lot of times that's communication if you don't have a large deposit, or maybe you do. Maybe you do have a large deposit. I don't want you just going and putting a ton of money out there with the actual title insurance company, because let's just say that something happens with this property and you're not able to purchase it. Then that deposit could be held by that title insurance company in mediation if your seller is not willing to sign the earnest money deposit release. So I don't go around making large deposits on properties if I'm not 100% confident that I'm definitely going to purchase that property. Now granted, we all plan on purchasing the property, but things do come up and I don't want a ton of money sitting in the title insurance company's escrow account and the seller's not willing to sign my release, and I don't want my money sitting there, because if the release is not signed and you don't actually mediate it or bring an attorney in and fight for it, these funds go to the state if no one's willing to let them go. So you don't want your deposit going to the state. So I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm just warning you. Now granted, on the total flip side of the coin, there's people that make their businesses on providing large deposits right off the bat. These people are usually spending other people's money or a fund's money or publicly traded money. That's not for private small guys like you and I just getting started. All right, so I got a couple stories about when I've purchased land with absolutely no deposit whatsoever. But before I do, I want you to smash that like button. I hope you're getting tons out of this video. Let's keep going. All right, so I want to talk about a piece of land that I purchased back in 2016. It was a $75,000 parcel of land. I had to pay the owner $30,000 down, and he gave me a seller carryback or a mortgage on the property for $45,000 at 0% interest, $400 a month for 9 years. So what does that mean? Every time I paid $400, my mortgage balance went down $400, and this property was paid for. This piece of land was paid for free and clear in 9 years. Where did I get the $30,000 down? I called USAA and got a private loan at 14% interest, $30,000, and they transferred it into my bank account, and then I transferred it to the title insurance company when we closed on the deal. Now, what I'm getting at here is I made a $0 earnest money deposit. A $0 earnest money deposit to get a sweet deal like that. Well, let's fast forward. It's now 2022. I have sold this land for $159,000, and I'm now holding the mortgage for someone else. I will collect over $300,000 over the next 30 years because of that 30-year mortgage that I gave this seller. If you're doing the math here, I only sold the land for $159,000, right? Why am I gonna get $300,000 in payments? Because that is the power of a compounding interest. That is the power of collecting payments over 30 years. Have you ever thought of why the banks are always the biggest, prettiest buildings in every city, in every state in the United States? It's because the power of compounding interest, all these 30-year mortgages they have secured by real estate. But here's what I'm getting at. That's a pretty sweet deal I just told you about, right? I'm gonna make $300,000 on a $75,000 purchase. So I'm literally 3xing my money on something I had to make a $0 deposit for. All right, in another case where I did not make a deposit, I bought one of my actually second parcel of land for $285. The seller gave me the price We had a quick contract. I made a $0 deposit and I flipped this land the next day. I sold it the next day to a real estate agent for $5,000. So I bought it for $285. I sold it for $5,000. There was no deposit made whatsoever. And here's what I'm getting at. The deposit was not important. I didn't even think about it. I don't think the seller even cared. He just wanted his $285. I wanted my profit of like $5,000, and the deposit was not important. So guys, if you're looking at making, a career of this, I have made personally a career of this. I have gotten out of the military. I quit my 9-to-5 job. I was able to get out of the military and provide for my family by buying and selling land. And I sell it in a very unique way. I love to sell it on seller financing. That way I have monthly payments coming to me every single day, just like that 30-year mortgage example. We do one of these a month where we sell a piece of land for 30 years and we get payments coming in over the next 30 years. If you're interested in something like that, if you're interested in building a future for you and your families, I want you to go to wholesalinginc.com/land. Go there right now, fill out the application, talk to my team, and if we like what you have to say, we might even invite you to be a rhino.